I know it's real windy out here and it's probably going to interfere with the audio, but I just wanted to talk to you guys real quick about what I'm up to. I'm out here offshore fishing. I want to give you a breakdown of what I've learned over the past few months and last year, because these are really the first 2 years that I've been like quote unquote ledge fishing, or TVA, Tennessee River offshore fishing, really. I want to give you guys kind of a run through of what I do, how I look for fish, and a few different baits that I throw, but more or less a big part of it is finding the bass. You know, if any of you guys have spent any time offshore with your electronics, you know sometimes it can be hard to locate the bass. So I'm going to try to break it down for you guys. I'm going to try to share with you some info that I've learned over the last couple of years, and yeah, stay tuned, guys. Fish got that 8XD right there. Not a big one, but you can tell, I mean, front hook is down the hatch. Oh, like crazy. I hope you guys can hear me. But it's down the hatch. That fish wanted that crankbait. On the old 8XD, it seems to be the ticket today. That one got it pretty good. She wasn't going anywhere. It looked like she might have been, but she wasn't. That's a 3-pounder. Good one. Very cool. Look at her tail's all healed up. She's post spawn. Out here feeding up. She thought she was getting a shad. Little did she know, the rattling crankbait. Cool. Dang it, I thought I had one big one and I had two. One was like a 5. Ah, dang it. Little guy. Dang it. That's what I'm talking about. Look at that one. Ah, woohoo! My hook just fell out. That's a stud. Post spawn. You can see the tail on that one's all chewed up. Decent fish though. Keep after them. Welcome back, guys. I know it's been a long hiatus since I've uploaded a video, but don't worry, I have not forgot about you guys. I just hit 1,000 subscribers, I think, a couple months ago. It doesn't feel like as long since I've uploaded a video, but I just looked, it was like 4 months ago. So I haven't been on here as often as I need to be. I'd like to get back to uploading regularly, at least, you know, bi-monthly or something. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for sticking around, staying tuned, and watching this video. Hopefully you've learned something so far. I know it's just been primarily fish catches. There hasn't really been a whole lot of talking. I didn't really talk on the boat that day. This is down the road now when I'm editing this. I just wanted to share with you some of my tips and tricks that I learned and try to inform you guys a little bit more about ledge fishing in the early season, you know, really throughout the season when the fish get out offshore. When I'm talking ledge fishing, I'm talking anywhere from, you know, 12 to 25, 30 feet really at the most. And all these clips that you guys watched, I think the average depth is probably anywhere from, I don't know, 14 to 18 feet. So not super deep, but kind of that range is typically where I find the most fish, at least out here on Guntersville on the Tennessee River. Same with Lake Chickamauga when we went there for the championship this year. Well, I just wanted to go over kind of my approach. I have two different approaches when I pull up to a ledge. I'll either start out like ultra finesse. I'll pick up my drop shot immediately, and I will fish those fish, and I'll catch what I can on the drop shot. And then I'll transition and I'll throw a different bait. I'll throw a Ned. This right here is a Nichols jig head. I haven't gotten any of the Gambler ones in my hands yet, but Gambler just came out with a really cool new jig head. It's got a weed guard on there, super stout hook, just like the Nichols. I like to throw that guy on a bait caster. This is actually a Gambler Fat Ace that I've cut down right above the worm sac or egg sac. If you watch Mikey Balls, you guys know that this is one of his go-tos. He just posted a video like 2 days ago with that. I just finished up watching it actually, and that is a killer technique out on the ledges, something that not very many guys throw, and it gets bit. I mean, a lot of guys are throwing a drop shot. You know, this guy right here, your pink robo worm. This is the Morning Dawn color. This is a staple on the ledges, but that's what a lot of guys throw. You know, they'll drop shot that Morning Dawn robo worm as their finesse bait, and that's a good option. And I do that as well. I have a rod with that rigged up, but I also have this guy rigged up. And I'll either start super finesse, drop shot, Ned Rig, or I'll go the complete opposite of the spectrum, and I'll start with something more aggressive. It also depends on how I see the fish set up. Say I see the fish set up on the bottom, that is going to be a good way to start to get bit. But at the same time, you can really get these fish fired up on a big crankbait. That's that 8XD you guys saw me throwing in that video, in those clips. That's a great bait, depending on depth. So if the fish are in that, I don't know, 14 to 17 range, well, really like 15 to 17 range, that 8XD is hard to beat. Really loud, you know, gets down there deep, you know, dredges the bottom. That's what you want. You want bottom contact. Of course, my phone's not on silent. I'll do that now. But anyway, you want good bottom contact. So that 8XD is great for that mid-depth range. If you're going real deep, you know, the 10XD is a good choice. I had a double on this guy this year. I had like I don't remember what it was. I think it was like almost a 5 and then like a 3 or something on one cast on that on a ledge. Another option earlier in the season when these fish are shallower, or even later in the season when the fish start to move back up onto the shallower stuff on the ledges, up on top of the, you know, a lot of the times when you hear ledges, you're thinking just like a straight drop. A lot of times the fish will be either up on the high spot on a shell bar, or they will be on that drop. But most of the time when I catch them really good, they're up on top. They're up on the flat side of it. And so when they're on the shallower flat sides of stuff, that DD22, I caught a giant bag of fish on the ledges last year, early season in May on that. And then just your standard 6XD. These baits are killers for that shallower range. You know, this bait here is not going to go much deeper than 13, 14 feet, but it's killer for that depth range. You know, 12 to 14, this bait is hard to beat. Something that a lot of guys throw, but man, does it get bit. And that bright color, don't let it fool you. That thing gets bit. Even when the water's clear, they like that bright color. You know, this color here is super bright as well. I think that's sexy chartreuse sexy shad. Then the 8XD was in just standard sexy shad, and I think this is like sexy blueback herring. So they've all got that sexy going for them. They're all super sexy. No, but yeah, they've got that chartreuse in there. I think that's key. You know, a little bit of chartreuse in a crankbait. Fishing offshore is good, but I'll either start with that or I'll finish with that. Typically, what the crankbait will do is it'll fire them up or it'll shut them down. So you kind of just got to play it, you know, by ear. Each school is different too. So like maybe one day they want that crankbait, fire it out there, you get them fired up and they start going on it, and you can get them almost every cast. Other days you throw it out there and the fish don't bite, and you scan back over them with your side scan on the big motor, and they're scattered out or they're completely gone. And so when those things are happening, like say you go out there and you scan across the school and you scatter them out with the crankbait on your first cast, that's when you want to start with your Ned Rig or your drop shot or your more finesse tactics. On the other side of things, you know, you guys, the fish are not always keyed into the bottom. A lot of times these fish will suspend on these ledges or on these points or road beds or any other offshore structure that you might be faced with. A good option is a big scrounger head. This is something that I just got into throwing this year. Like I said, I've only been ledge fishing for really like 2 years now. And the scrounger head is a great option. It gets out there and you can fish it in the mid water column real effectively. I'll throw it out there, I'll count it down a little bit, and then I'll just start winding it back. And you can let it sink, and then you can speed it up. And basically you want a scrounger that's going to run true at all speeds. I like the soft build ones. Some guys like the real firm build ones. That's a whole nother video in itself. But scrounger head, when the fish are suspended, this is just your jerky J. There's no secret there. That's a killer bait on a scrounger. That's a good one when the fish are suspended. That's a 1 ounce. I'll do 3/4 and 1 ounce depending on depth. Also depending on current out there on the TVA. So as far as the Ned Rig goes, like I said, Nickel's head, that's a 6-inch fat ace. That's a good color. Green pumpkin, watermelon, I believe like swirl or laminate. And then drop shot worms, keep it simple. I got my pink. I got my MM3, which is like a darker purple. Clear water, sunny days, pink. Dirtier waters, cloudy days, purple. In between, blue crawler. This is a good color, even in clear water. You could throw that in dirty water. It's just a good color overall. It's kind of a good mixture of both. Brown with a little blue vein in there. Those are my go-tos on the drop shot. When nothing else will work and you can see them down there, but they won't bite, the drop shot is a great technique. Another thing that I do that maybe not a lot of guys do, you know, a lot of guys might throw like your standard like nose hook with like a Gamakatsu split shot, drop shot, or whatever, you know, drop shot hook you might prefer. I actually like to throw offshore, this is, on largemouth fishing. I like to throw the owner cover shot. This guy's got a little monofilament or, I don't know, fluorocarbon keeper on there. That holds your worm up there really good. It also keeps it nice and straight, and it allows you to have maximum action of that longer worm. I feel like when you nose hook, you lose a little bit of action. Sometimes the worm will want to spin or move on the hook. Another benefit to that is when the fish bites, you've got a longer shank. So the fish is generally speaking going to get hooked a little bit better. I can set the hook a little bit harder. I can throw a little bit heavier leader. I think I go like 10 pound most of the time off of my braid on my spinning rod to that hook. And then I'll vary my weight anywhere from, these are all different weights, but you know, there's a 3/16 lead, 1/4 ounce tungsten, or like a 3/8 ounce tungsten. You know, I'll go between them depending on depth, depending on current. I'll change up my weights, but the drop shot's a go-to. That cover shot's a great hook to throw. Let me pop open this box. I've actually got a box dedicated. This is like nothing compared to a lot of these guys out here that have been doing this forever, but there's some stuff in here that I'll show you that I haven't really done that well on, but I just want to like cover it just to let you guys know that it is something that works. That guy right there, the Magnum spoon. Another bait when the fish are suspended eating the scrounger, they'll eat that spoon. This is something I haven't caught too many fish on. I've caught some, but it's not something that I have a ton of confidence in yet. But that deal right there definitely gets bit, especially out here on the Tennessee River when the fish get grouped up around the white bass. The white bass will typically suspend or be more up off the bottom, and the bass will be underneath them. And so when you rip that big spoon through there, it fires those big bass up, thinking it's a white bass or a big shad dying off, and they'll go over and crush it. Another bait when they're suspended is a hair jig. This is, I don't know what brand this is, I don't remember, but it's just a 1/2 ounce. I know 1/2 ounce based on what I've heard from buddies of mine and everybody locally around here. 1/2 ounce is the deal. It has the right fall rate. You want something with a pretty good sharp hook in there, and color doesn't really matter a ton. White and chartreuse, you know, you can get a little bit more fancy with a little more natural, but hair jig's a good option to have in your box. And that guy you're gonna kind of stroke off the bottom and let it fall, or reel and let it kill it, reel, kill it, reel, kill it. You know, that's your retrieve with that. And so one other thing, let's see, what have I not covered? Well, there's some stuff that I'm not a huge fan of that I'll just mention real quick. Carolina rig, 3/4 ounce weight, 1 ounce weight, decently long leader, and your favorite plastic behind it, whatever it might be. That's a good way to catch fish. I just am not a huge fan of a Carolina rig for whatever reason. I caught fish on it, I'll throw it, but it's not my favorite. I'd prefer to throw the Mag Shaky Head. This here is a, I believe this is a fatty bottom hopper by Power Bait. It's kind of like a Magnum trick worm. It's a little bit bulkier, but that's a great worm. The Mag trick worm, green pumpkin, red bug, African special, June bug, any of those darker variants, purples, reds are really good offshore. Sunnier days, clearer water, green pumpkin's hard to beat. I've almost always thrown a 3/4 ounce football style head. This is one I get from GTO Tackle here in Guntersville. I don't remember the name of it. I think it's like D's Baits or something makes them. They come in a bulk pack. Great little jig head. I like to skin hook my worm on there, but that's super effective as well when the fish are located to the bottom. Once you've already worn them out with a crankbait or the hair jig or the scrounger, I'll pick up that and I'll slow down and I'll pick up a few extra fish. You know, I've got other stuff in this box, you know, some just bare swim baits, you know, 6-7 inch swim baits that I'll throw. But as far as this season goes, I think I caught the most of my fish on a crankbait, a Ned Rig, and a drop shot, and the mag shaky head. Those are like my go-tos. I just wanted to share that with you guys. You know, this is a topic that I could go on and on and on about. You know, you got to learn your graphs. You got to learn boat positioning. You have to learn how to read your graphs. You have to learn a lot of different aspects of it. But I just hope that this video gives you a little bit of an insight and maybe a little bit more confidence. You know, next year, post spawn, when those fish start to move offshore, I hope this video gives you some confidence to go out there, give it a shot, try your hand at it. You don't have to pick up a lot of tackle. Like I said, just pick up a few of each of these things I talked about, have a couple different rods on the front deck with them tied on, and you should be able to catch some fish. The one other thing that I will mention is that I like to throw longer rods. So like 7'6", you know, 7'8", 7'4", depending on, you know, whatever it is you're throwing. The crankbaits I throw on a 7'6", either the X12 or the X13 Phoenix rod. Great crankbait rods. Longer rod allows you to get a long cast. Shaky head I throw on a 7'8". I believe it's a heavy action M1 Phoenix rod. Same deal, long cast. Spinning rod I throw on a 7'6" with my drop shot, and that's a Ultra MBX, and I believe I throw it in a medium action. Same deal, long cast. Everything I'm going to say, you're going to hear me say with longer rod. The Ned, I go a little shorter, but it is on a casting rod, 7'1", K2 light action. Same deal. I mean, it's light, long cast. This deal's pretty heavy. Throw it on 10-pound, long casts. Can't stress enough, long casts. Stay away from the schools of fish. Line up your waypoints and long cast across that. It's going to feel weird being out in the open, but just once you start getting bit, you'll be more confident, and it'll allow you to stay out there. And I promise you, post spawn, like early summer, you will catch more bass. Try these techniques. Good luck out there, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm going to be uploading some more. I got some more content. I'm not sure. I'll have to sift through what I've got, but hopefully I've got some good stuff for you guys coming, and hopefully you're having a good one. My season's wrapped up. We're sort of getting ready for next season, 2021, on the pro circuit. So, guys, enjoy having you on here, and thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time on another episode of Jacob Wall Fishing.